Hey, what's up, everybody? Today we're going to be talking about the workout rule of the 75 Hard Challenge. It's the rule that gets the most glory, the spotlight, because most people that find out about 75 Hard, including myself, they're looking for a workout routine, and they find this and they go, oh my gosh, 2 workouts a day, 45 minutes each. One of them's got to be outside. Oh my, I'm going to get shredded. And so that's what gets a lot of us into 75 Hard to start with. It gets a lot of the attention. So I do have other videos that I have either already made or that are on their way for each one of the rules of the 75 Hard Challenge. So make sure you hit subscribe. I've got a couple of other 75 Hard videos here as well, such as my the first time through my results video. I got a 75 Hard versus 75 Soft video. So make sure you subscribe and check out my other videos. So let's get into the ins and outs of the workout challenge. So some of the questions that I get about the challenge that I think are important to talk about are the timing aspects of it. So for example, I get questions like, can I squeeze both 45-minute workouts together into one giant 90-minute workout? The answer is no. There's a rule of thumb that it needs to be a few hours apart, preferably at least 3 hours apart or more than that, but they can't be together. I also get questions like, well, can we just take the 45 minutes and break it up into like several different workouts throughout the day? And it's no for that as well. They have to be 45-minute chunk and 45-minute chunk here and not very close to each other. Now, what I did do is I would take a chunk, especially the outside one, and I would break it into 15-minute workouts. So I'd do like strength training and then jump rope, and then maybe like HIIT. They were still all in one cluster, one 45-minute chunk, but I just broke them up into 15-minute increments just to kind of help me with the monotony of doing that every single day for 75 days. So that's totally doable. You can do more than 45 minutes on either one of those workouts that you want, but that extra 45 or whatever you go above 45 doesn't count towards any of the other workout. It just is extra for the sake of doing extra. So don't get too excited about doing more thinking you're paying off a later debt, because you're not. So let's talk about the outside workouts a little bit. And one of the biggest lessons that I learned whenever I was going through the program the first time was I was on like day 20 or day 30. I was somewhere in the middle of like no man's land, and I happened to run into a guy that was on his last day. And I asked him, I said, hey, well, do you have any advice? You got anything you can kind of share with me? And he said that don't sleep on the outdoor workouts. He was telling me that he chose to walk all of those outdoor workouts, and now that he was on day 75, he had mixed emotions of he was finishing it, but it had also felt like maybe he didn't put enough into those workouts, so maybe he wasn't getting out of it as much as he had hoped. And so for me, that was a really big lesson at the time that, what you choose to put into this, the levels of effort that you choose to put into this is going to determine what you get out of it. Walking is a legitimate exercise. There are some people that walking is a difficult task to do. There are some that walking is very easy to do, but it's still a legitimate exercise. So you kind of have to know like what your capabilities are and know what's possible for you and what is effort. Like what is actually like, this is me trying hard. This is me putting in a lot of myself into this versus this is me not. And it's really easy in the moment to sort of justify how you feel because things start to get very uncomfortable with the amount of work that you're putting into this challenge. So it's very easy to start kind of going like, well, walking is really hard. It does still burn calories when you're actually a person that could do more. So, just kind of keep that in mind with your outdoor workouts is don't sleep on them. They are not an add-on workout. I think that's a natural perception that people have is like, well, I already did like the main workout. Like this is just like the extra. And it's not. It's just as important as the other workout, if not more important, because you're dealing with things outside that you're not dealing with inside. You're dealing with especially like weather elements. I did my first challenge in the dead of winter and it was cold. Like right now I'm doing another one and it's hot. I'm in the middle of the summer and it's super hot. Like you're dealing with things that you're not normally dealing with. You're also dealing with like sometimes I would go to like the park and I would run there and like then I'd have to go to the bathroom because I'm drinking all this water from the challenge. I'm dealing with things outside that are more challenging in some ways than the inside workout. So it's not an add-on workout. It's just as important, if not more. You learn more about yourself through those. So that's the main thing is like don't sleep on those workouts or any part of this challenge. If you find yourself dragging your feet on any part of it, it's going to impact you the same way on day 75. Like how much effort you can put into something, so just be aware of that as you're going through this. Now, one of the things I thought was kind of interesting about the outdoor portion that I didn't expect was that I found it to be a really good opportunity for me while I was out there to think a lot, like especially because it became very monotonous after a couple of weeks, and so my brain just had nothing but opportunity to spin, and so I found myself thinking a lot about like my brand, my business, my YouTube channel, my website, like what can I do to continue to expand my empire or whatever, right? I was thinking about this. I ended up then shooting an entire 10 video series of workouts because I thought, I'm out here anyways doing work. I'm going to set up a tripod, put a microphone on, and record myself and then post them to YouTube. So they're here on my YouTube channel somewhere. And then I was like, you know what? That's going to need a soundtrack. So then I started thinking about ways to like create music on my iPad, and I have an album posted on Spotify. And this was just stuff that I was thinking about while I was out there. I thought, like, you know what? Here's what I need to do to this, and this. Like, use that time to think about something. Like find ways to build something, whether it's your brand, your enterprise, your relationships, whatever it is. Like, it's a really unique opportunity because like you've got to be out there anyways. Like, why not like put a little bit of like mental workout, mental exercise into the physical as well. So just a personal tip there. Going back, I get a lot of the questions of like, well, what qualifies as a workout? And so this is tough. I mentioned, walking is a workout, but like for some people, walking is more of a workout than it is for other people. But like sometimes I get questions about like, well, what about swimming? Like I have a pool here and I can use my pool for one of two things. I can use it to either get in and do nothing and just like veg out, or I can get in it and do work. It's there for both purposes. But vegging out and doing the dead man's float for 45 minutes is not a workout. And this is one of those areas you have to kind of self-supervise, which is like, the effort and energy you're putting into stuff. Like, you're going to have to answer to yourself on day 75 on what's what. I also get questions of like, well, what qualifies as an outdoor workout? Like, what is outside? And so for me, here's how I drew that line. Like, if I could look up and see the sky, or if I was in an area that if it was windy, I could feel the wind, that was outside for me. So that meant I couldn't work out like in my garage with the garage doors even open because there wasn't going to be any hardly wind coming in unless it came in straight through that door. Or I couldn't look up and see the sky. I had 3 walls around me and a ceiling, so that wasn't enough for me. So another one of those things you kind of have to self-supervise, but that was how I drew the line. Look up and see the sun, or I got to be able to feel the wind. If it's not one of those two, then for me, it wasn't an outside workout. It's also important to prepare. I mentioned the weather elements earlier. Depending on where you live and the time of season, like be ready for what's coming. So, for me, because I did my first challenge in the dead of winter, I had no excuse whenever it got cold because I knew it was going to be cold. So I was prepared for that whenever the challenge started. It had been silly of me to get to like day 3 or 4 and go, I didn't know it was going to be this cold. Well, of course I knew it was going to be this cold. That's just called lack of preparation. And probably that's just me procrastinating because I didn't want to do the challenge anyway. So just prepare for what's coming. If you live in a cold area, or if it's a cold time of year or vice versa, and if it's warm or it's getting ready to get warm or whatever, just what's coming. Just be prepared for it because it's going to hit. And because you're going to be out there for every single day for the next 2.5 months, you're going to see probably the worst of whatever that is. So just a heads up on that. Prepare for that before the challenge even starts. I also have other videos here on my channel. Make sure you hit subscribe for whenever the new ones come out. I think I still need to do maybe the water challenge and something else. So watch the ones I've already done. Subscribe for the ones that are coming out, and as always, I appreciate you guys watching. If this was helpful, please hit like on it and maybe the subscribe because I do these types of videos and other health and fitness videos several times a week. I've also got a ton of articles over on my website, fitnessshiznes.com, which I'll link down in the description down below. Feel free to drop any notes, questions that you've got. Glad to help with them as I can to help get you through starting on day 1 and get you to day 75. Thanks again so much for watching. We'll see you on the next video. Peace out.